Arsenal 3, Sunderland 0. We are 9 points clear at the top of the Prem for now. Viktor Gyökeres gets his double. What a match. What a weekend for Arsenal fans. We're going to be breaking down the win over Sunderland, talking a little bit about the win over Chelsea in the League Cup midweek, and we're going to be previewing the match against Brentford this upcoming midweek. What a time to be an Arsenal fan. Let's get into all of it. This is the American Gooner. Three 0 to the Arsenal in a match against Sunderland that a lot of people said was going to be tough. It was a team that had stolen points from us at the Stadium of Light a few months ago in the dying embers of the game. They have not lost at home yet. I know that this was a match at the Emirates, but still, their form at home is incredible. Although recently promoted, they're a tough side to play against, and a lot of people said it was going to be a difficult match. A lot of people said a lot of things going into this match, going into the League Cup tie against Chelsea, going into the Leeds match. But what are they gonna say now? First, it was Arsenal are set piece FC, own goal FC. They can't score from open play. They're ruining football with their tactics, Arteta ball, what have you. You look at our last three matches, we've scored 8 goals, and we've dominated play with 3 clean sheets in a row now, and goals from open play. We haven't relied on set pieces. We haven't relied on own goals. We haven't relied on mistakes by our opponents. What we've relied on is controlling the flow of the game, playing on the front foot, not forcing the ball into dangerous areas, not pouncing so much, but waiting for the game to come to us, which creates a little bit of uneasiness amongst the support when you're 20, 30, 40 minutes into a match against a team that you should be beating at home, and it's 0-0, and you're waiting for that opportunity to open things up. But that's the way that Arsenal have played this season, and that's the way that they want to play. And there's nothing wrong with that when you reach full time and you win 3-0 or you win 4-0. So set piece FC, own goal FC, whatever it is, well, you can't say that about this Arsenal team anymore, can you? So what's next? Well, tough fixtures coming up. They'll drop points. Everybody said going to Ellen Road was going to be a really tough test for this Arsenal team. Everybody said Sunderland at home after dropping points to them at the Stadium of Light earlier this year. That was going to be a really tough spot. That League Cup tie at home with Chelsea just being up 3-2 on aggregate, that was going to be really tough. Well, we dominated all 3 of those fixtures too, didn't we? Not only did we win all 3, we kept clean sheets in all 3. We limited the opportunities of our opponents to basically nothing. We find our best form in the Premier League probably throughout the entire season, and we win back-to-back Premier League matches by 3+ goals for the first time this season. Look, I understand hate watching. I'm going to be doing it in about 30 minutes when Man City plays Liverpool. And I understand opposing fan bases or pundits looking at the remaining games that Arsenal have and trying to pinpoint fixtures, pinpoint spots, pinpoint opportunities where maybe they would drop points, whether it be 1 or 3. I understand that. But when the stretch of 3 fixtures that everybody was saying would break down this Arsenal team, would really test the mentality and the fortitude of the players, and a stretch of fixtures that a lot of people said would damage the title hopes for this Arsenal team, they win all 3. And they did it in convincing fashion. They didn't narrowly escape with victory in any of the 3. They were in total control for 90+ minutes in each. They stepped up when they needed to. They rose to the occasion, something that I had said on the last episode I was worried about their ability to do when needed. They proved me wrong. In a tough stretch of games where they needed to be at their very best, they needed to find a form that we hadn't yet seen from them this season, and they needed to take 6 league points from 6. They did it. So if these were the games that everybody was circling on the Arsenal calendar saying this is where they're going to drop points, this is where they're going to take themselves out of the title race. Well, they won all 3. So what are you going to say now about the remaining fixtures? If the ones that you said, I guarantee they will drop points in, they didn't, where are the points going to be dropped now? Oh, I'll tell you where they're going to drop points. Injuries, excuses, Netflix FC, next year FC, Saka goes down in training before the Leeds game. Odegaard goes down. Timber is hurt. Calafiori's form is dipping as he's returning from this lingering injury. Gyökeres is coming off the bench. Kai Havertz, they're still limiting his minutes because he's coming back from injury. Backup keeper in the League Cup. We don't even play David Raya in that second leg at home against Chelsea when we're only up by 1 on aggregate. Yet we still won, and we're still winning. Our squad is that deep. Our team is that determined. Our football is that damn good. Where last year Arsenal supporters had every right to complain about injuries and chalk it up to the fact that we were never really healthy for the entirety of the season. Where the year before there were excuses. There were reasons why we couldn't get over the line that did not have to do with the team themselves. Playing the blame game, whether it be VAR, referees, injuries, not having enough money to spend on a certain player during the summer transfer window or the January transfer window. Now, 2025, 2026 season, this Arsenal team has reached a point where they are missing their captain, one of their best attacking players, and it doesn't matter. I'll even go as far to say the team looked better without Bukayo Saka and Martin Odegaard on the pitch. And if you pull it back and look at the entirety of this campaign, every single player, I think with the exception of Raya, has missed time due to injury. Obviously, the big ones, Kai Havertz, Martin Odegaard, Gabriel Jesus missed an extended period of time. Gabriel and Saliba were both out at the same time at one point. Bukayo Saka has had 2 different injury spells now. Viktor Gyökeres was hurt for a period in time. Declan Rice missed a match. So again, as the narrative evolves about this Arsenal team, when you can't talk about own goals and set pieces and you can't talk about tough fixtures ahead, you turn to injuries. Well, they've played through significant injuries all season long, and they're 9 points clear at the top of the Premier League table. They're in the Carabao Cup final. They are in the 4th round of the FA Cup, and they were perfect in the Champions League, 8 for 8. What they are proving and continue to prove is that no amount of injury, no amount of loss from the club is going to deter their hopes of winning a trophy. Their ability to win not just one competition, but potentially all 4. My point being, when I watch a game like the Sunderland game yesterday, I'm elated, ecstatic that this team continues to smash the narratives that have existed for years and years and years now. And it's so sweet because for a long time, people were right. I'll admit that under Mikel Arteta, we have been reliant on set pieces. We have been reliant on own goals at times this season. We have had stretches of tough fixtures where we've dropped points. We've had injuries. We've made excuses. We've looked ahead to the next season because we've already scrapped the one we're in. But I can't tell you how sweet it is to finally be smashing those narratives. And I look at a performance like yesterday, on the heels of booking a ticket to Wembley in the League Cup final, on the heels of dominating Leeds at Ellen Road, 4-0, in a spot where you really needed a convincing win. And they follow it up again yesterday with another multi-goal, convincing win, clean sheet. Everybody contributed. And it is a relief to finally be exercising the demons of the past few years and to be silencing these narratives that have existed about Arsenal for 5+ years now, really ever since Arteta showed up, and stretching way back even longer than that, to be putting all of that to bed and to be proving all of these people wrong, and to watch in real time the narratives continue to pop up and surface and new ones get created because one by one we are dismissing the claims about our team. It's just the best feeling in the world as a fan. And so above all else, watching that game yesterday, smashing the narratives, it's just a great time right now to be an Arsenal fan. And it's also a fantastic time to be Viktor Gyökeres. 13 goals across all competitions so far this season. He's just 3 goals shy of becoming the highest scoring Arsenal striker under Mikel Arteta, which is very significant because for a long time, especially the last 2 years, one of the excuses that was being made for Arsenal's lack of trophy success, or just lack of domestic success in general, was that they didn't have a proper striker. For as much as we've been anticipating the return of Kai Havertz from this injury, and for as much as he has contributed since coming back, he wasn't the guy to get the job done. He wasn't getting us over the line. He was scoring pivotal goals and he was having an impact somewhat, but he wasn't the striker that we needed. And for a long time, there were calls to upgrade that position. There still have been. But especially last season, when we were dealing with injuries left and right and we didn't have the depth we do now, the expectation was that in the January transfer window, we were going to go out and find that striker. Evidently, we didn't. We lost the league. We lost in the Champions League semifinal. Didn't make it far enough in the FA Cup. Believe we lost to Newcastle in the League Cup semis. And a lot of the blame was placed on the fact that we didn't have a striker that could score goals in those big moments. For as many ups and downs as he's been through already in his Arsenal career, Viktor Gyökeres is that player. We are finally seeing him at top scoring form. He's scoring goals from open play. Rather impressive goals, too. I mean, you look at the one yesterday against Sunderland, tight area in the box. He's getting pulled backwards, basically, by the back of his shirt. He still manages to get a really good piece of his foot on the ball. Puts it in a great area where the keeper can't make the save. It's an impressive goal, and those are the types of goals you saw him score at Sporting. We're finally seeing him do it here. He's scoring goals from open play. He's constantly a threat with the ball in the box. His confidence is back, which is key. His teammates' confidence in him couldn't be higher. Most importantly, he's winning Arsenal games. You don't win that League Cup semifinal against Chelsea without Viktor Gyökeres' goal at Stamford Bridge. Then he ices the game in the second half at Ellen Road against Leeds with a really impressive goal from open play. And then yesterday, Gabriel Jesus gets the start, doesn't really produce in the first half. Viktor Gyökeres comes on with about a half hour left. 5 minutes in, he scores, puts us up by 2. And then in the 90th plus minute of extra time, he once again seals the game, puts it on ice. Another goal from open play makes it 3-0 Arsenal. And he's becoming that player. The player that you need to win you big games. Yeah, you kept a clean sheet yesterday. So theoretically, all you needed was the Martin Zubamendi goal to win that game. But as we saw at the Stadium of Light against this Sunderland team, we were clinging to a 1-goal lead late. They put the pressure on us, we conceded, and we dropped points. And we've been waiting for a player like Viktor Gyökeres to take that pressure off in the second half, to come on, ice games, score meaningful goals, and secure us 3 points a lot earlier than the 96th or the 97th minute when the full-time whistle blows and we're up by 1. When he scored that first goal, the game was won. And when he scored his second, the third goal of the match, the game was put on ice. It was the cherry on top of a great afternoon at the Emirates. And now if you look back at some of the goals he scored earlier in the season, more recently, take away the narratives that were fogging up the Viktor Gyökeres experience at Arsenal and purely look at what the goals meant for the club. 2 goals against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League won you the game. 2 goals against Leeds United at home won you the game. The penalty against Everton on the road won you the game. The goal against Chelsea in the first leg of the League Cup at Stamford Bridge won you the game. The goal at Ellen Road against Leeds United in the second half won you the game. And the goal yesterday against Sunderland in the second half, less than 5 minutes after he subbed on for Gabriel Jesus, won you the game. For the first time in the Mikel Arteta era of Arsenal, we have a striker that's winning us games. And if you want to keep winning games and keep having a player like Viktor Gyökeres contribute meaningful goals in meaningful fixtures, then he needs to be the starting center forward in every single match going forward. I think really the only negative that I took out of yesterday's match is that Gabriel Jesus is not the game-changing striker we all wish he could be. When the starting 11 came out, I disagreed with the decision to start him over Gyökeres, and you could kind of anticipate the type of first half he was going to have. He is unable to make impactful runs, and in the few instances where he does, he can't stay onside. And in all honesty, he's not really threatening defenses either. The way I would characterize his style of play is chaotic, which I think is appealing to a lot of people just watching because it looks like there's movement happening and chances are being created and pressure is being applied to the opposition. But if you actually watch him, whether it's his on-ball or off-ball movement, it's just very chaotic, but not in a positive way. He's kind of all over the place, which again makes it seem like he is impacting the game, but he's really not. Now, there will be some statisticians that will look at the amount of touches that he has in and around the box versus Viktor Gyökeres and say that Gabriel Jesus probably touches the ball a quintuple amount of times more than Viktor Gyökeres does. But is Gabriel Jesus translating that into goals or goal contributions? No. He has 4 goals since coming back from injury, and he has scored all of his goals late in games as a sub where we've already had a comfortable lead. He's not winning games. He's not icing games. He's stat padding, which obviously it's not a bad thing to score a goal, but you have to look at the context of his goals when you're trying to compare the amount of touches that he gets to the amount of touches that Viktor Gyökeres gets, because the context around his goals doesn't mean nearly as much as the context around Viktor Gyökeres' goals that are legitimately winning us games, securing us 3 points, and advancing us in all of these competitions. The sheer volume of positivity that Viktor Gyökeres has brought this club, especially in the last month, that warrants him the starting striker position. And if Mikel Arteta is keen on rotation because of the physicality that Viktor Gyökeres brings, wanting to keep him fresh for these fixtures down the stretch, fine. But the 2 players that are your most threatening center forwards are Viktor Gyökeres and Kai Havertz. That would be my rotation. If you're going to start Viktor Gyökeres and you want to have Kai Havertz on the field at the same time because there is clearly chemistry between the two, then start Kai Havertz in the midfield, start Viktor Gyökeres as the striker. And if you're in a position where you feel that Viktor Gyökeres needs rest, and you'd rather him be a player that comes off the bench in the 60th, 70th minute and scores impactful goals to help ice games and secure you 3 points, then start Kai Havertz at striker. Look to Odegaard or Eze in the midfield, and then take one of the 3 off in the 60th or 70th and bring Viktor Gyökeres on as your striker. In my opinion, you're going to see the most goal contributions from your attacking forwards when you have that rotation in place. Gyökeres, Havertz rotating between starting in the striker position. Gabby Jesus is a super sub, and he has scored goals when he's been subbed on late in games where we have a lead. And that's still an important role to play. Use that to your advantage. He's not a starting striker anymore. He's not a first half type of player. Kai Havertz has proven that he is. Viktor Gyökeres has proven that he can be. Gabriel Jesus has proven that he is best utilized in the second half late in games when he can make a contribution and help us extend our lead. So if I'm Mikel Arteta, I'm fully taking advantage of that. Play to the strengths of your players. It worked against Leeds. It worked against Chelsea. It's worked in so many other matches so far this season. Continue to utilize it. And before we get into our final takeaway from the Sunderland match, hats off to the midfield, because once again, they were the unsung heroes of a key victory. Martin Zubimendi, I've been critical of his usage just because I think he's being overplayed, and I've been very vocal about that, but he scores a beautiful goal. He opened up the scoring at a point in the match where we really needed it. And he's an interesting player because he's not necessarily known as a goal scorer, but if you look at the shift he's put in at Arsenal so far through 7 months, 8 months, he has certainly played a very key role in the Arsenal attack, and he's scored some big goals in some big moments. So hats off to him. He does it again yesterday. It's a beautiful strike. It's so well placed. It's so well struck, and not the type of player that you're necessarily going to look to for those types of goals, but when he scores them, and when he offers that element of the attack, it is special. So hats off to him. And Declan Rice, he was outstanding yesterday in the areas that he always is, regaining possession, applying pressure on the Sunderland defense, captaining that Arsenal midfield, being the vocal, verbal leader of the team, especially when a player like Martin Odegaard, who usually wears the armband, is out, especially when Bukayo Saka, who is considered the captain of that attacking front, is out with injury. Declan Rice stepped up, like he always does. He stepped up, and it was so pivotal yesterday. And he does such a good job of steering the Arsenal ship in the right direction. If you go back and watch Viktor Gyökeres' first goal, and you watch the build-up, Declan Rice is so instrumental in keeping the ball, regaining possession in the brief moments where we might have lost it, directing the traffic, so to speak, of not just the Arsenal attack, but the Sunderland defense. You can see him orchestrating and choreographing the buildup of that goal, and it worked to perfection. He's just such an outstanding player, one that we are so lucky to have in that midfield, and it was another consistent performance from Declan Rice that won't headline the victory, but absolutely played a role once again. And then we talked about Kai Havertz, assist to Gyökeres, narrowly misses his own opportunity. He's playing very positive football. He's taking his chances, playing on that front foot, and introducing another layer to our attacking midfield that at this point in time you're not getting from Martin Odegaard or Eberechi Eze. It's quick, it's dynamic, it's intuitive, almost impulsive in a good way. He doesn't take time with the ball to assess. He has a natural instinct for where he should be going, where the ball should be going off his foot, which players to play it to, which opportunities and shots to take. Like you look at the one yesterday, I know he missed it by the slimmest of margins, but that was a great shot and a great spot to test the goalkeeper and test the defense. And you don't see that from Martin Odegaard. When we've seen it from him, like you look at the Brighton game earlier this year, he's scored. But for some reason, he is reluctant to take on those opportunities. He likes the play through him, slow the game down, control the game, map it out, much more like a Declan Rice. But you don't need two Declan Rices in your midfield because Declan Rice's presence is so strong. You need a Kai Havertz. And the way that Kai Havertz played yesterday, that's the way that our attacking midfielders should play. So again, another great performance from him, and he's solidifying his spot in that midfield. And lastly, biggest takeaway, it's boring Arsenal back at it again, putting up the wall. 3 clean sheets in a row, 4 wins in a row, favorites in all competitions. I love watching this brand and this style of football, and it's a brand that is criticized by many, but if it wins you matches and allows you to dominate opponents the way Arsenal are dominating their opponents, then at the end of the day, who cares? You limit chances for the opposition, you create chances for yourself, you take advantage of those chances and those opportunities, and you win. That's the cleanest way you could play the game. It's the cleanest way you could win the league, and I love the fact that we're taking advantage of it. I also love that we're playing this way domestically in the Premier League, in the FA Cup, and the League Cup, because it really opens up the opportunities for our Champions League run. There's been a lot of comparing and contrasting between the way the Premier League is structured and the way the Champions League is structured, just in terms of the style of play. And this past week, Anthony Gordon from Newcastle kind of equated it to basketball in the Premier League. The game is very much slowed down. It's about the X's and O's. It's very reliant on set pieces and creating formations that will put your opponent in a compromised position defensively, sort of like chess. The European game is much more free-flowing. It's fast-paced. Possession is very much a 50-50 split. Play moves down one end and then back down to the other, and so on and so forth. It's very much about thinking on the fly, transitioning quickly, catching your opponents out of position, and utilizing the entirety of the pitch. So it might be curious to some why Arsenal, a team that have been very methodical and slow and reliant on set pieces this season, why they've had so much success in Europe. And I think it's because if you can limit the opposition's chances in a game that is very reliant on set pieces and formations and slowing things down and trying to chip away at your defensive wall, then it's very easy to defend a fast-paced transitional style of football. Take Atletico Madrid, Bayern Munich, and Inter Milan, for example. Some of the best, highest scoring, fastest teams in Europe. All three were rendered pretty much useless against Arsenal from an attacking perspective. And we haven't adapted our style to play with teams like that. Meaning we haven't changed our formation, adjusted the way we defend, or adjusted the way we attack, knowing that we're going up against a side like a Bayern Munich, like an Atletico Madrid. I think we've officially cracked the code to conceding one or fewer goals in a match, which then just means you have to score one or two to win, and that's what we're doing. So to me, it's not a surprise why we're favored in all four competitions we're playing in right now. And again, it's only February. There's lots of football left to play. But the response I've seen from Arsenal since the Man U loss, the form that we've found, the style and the brand of football that we're playing, the way we're executing on it, it's really hard to see us completely falling off a cliff in all four competitions. And that's what it's going to take to stop Arsenal, falling off a cliff. And I'll leave you all with that. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the American Gooner. Arsenal have a match with Brentford midweek. It's a little bit quieter of a week, not having a League Cup or an FA Cup or a Champions League match. We are focused solely on the Premier League, looking to extend our lead. It's 9 points right now. Liverpool and City have just kicked off as I've started recording this. So as you are all listening to this, you will know what the official point differential is going into that Brentford match. But fingers crossed, hopefully it's 9. And of course, we'll be back after the game with Brentford to react to the match and preview the upcoming weekend fixtures. But until then, thank you so much for listening. Happy Arsenal watching. Happy hate watching Man City and Liverpool today. And come on, you Gunners.